Architects were obsessed with tabula rasa, finding something new to portray their utopian ideas. But presently it's all brown fields, everything's built, completely occupied. If we follow business as usual, we might create dystopian world where climatic conditions are worse. Buildings actually contribute significantly to the output of carbon emissions, and this is something undesirable. This manifesto is a culmination of my recent experiences. I was inspired by the theory of palimpsest and really inspired by the concept while roaming within the alleyways of Victoria. I saw these graffitis, and seeing these graffitis gave me a very interesting outlook of the multiple overlapping layers, keeping the original narrative intact within the layers of the paint underneath it, superimposing the aspect of creativity that enlightened the fire of architecture. The theories can also be like the paint strokes. It can be theories in a sequence. So my proposition is ranging from existing to experimental, with a focus on physical quality and meaning of the existing building. All parts of the building should attempt to reflect on a singular idea focusing on saving than losing, and efforts to slow the irreversible changes in climate with the small, unconventional solutions in the design process. So, the design process, the four brushstrokes, increasing the grain of solution, are the material, retrofit, adaptive reuse, and technology. The first solution for improving an existing building can be with reusing materials. The notion of bricolage, whatever increase the life of a building. Every material has embodied carbon and energy. I really found Epic database to be extremely comprehensive, and it tells a lot of information about materials. I really like the work of architects like Alejandro Aravena, who are very socially conscious. He designed a shelter to rebuild the houses by creating temporary elemental housing made up of wood as a construction materials. This could be reused in another housing scheme when these shelters were in no longer need. Next, the zero carbon retrofit is a quick fix, improving a space without changing its use. Green ratings like use of GBCA, passive house, and well guidelines can make it more user oriented, desirable. Firms like Lakatan and Wasal always think of taking positive cues from the existing build space. In their proposal for Tour Boila Pitre, they didn't demolish the building to construct a new one. Instead, converted the old tower block into a modern livable housing. Adaptation of existing build stock using adaptive reuse was the primary driver behind the manifesto. I heard stories of building being demolished after 1850s gold rush in Australia in attempt to modernize the city. Alteration of spaces using adaptive reuse technique is different from retrofit as it affects and changes the use of the space. Adaptive reuse can be revolutionary as seen in the example of Gemini Residence designed by MVRDV, which converts two old non-functional grain silos into high-end residences with great waterside views and its proximity to the center. Lastly, a technological solution expands the scope to something beyond architecture. As AI blurs the boundary between science fiction and reality, existing materials and building can be programmed to perform better. A great example is Hydrogen Pavilion by Akim Menges, which responds to climate change. Like architecture has its own mind. Hence, each building stock can be resolved like a palimpsest of material, retrofit, adaptive reuse, and technology. And this symbiotic relationship will lead to defend the built environment against severe consequences of the present era.